I did read Fantastic Four, which brought up a really cool topic that we were talking about before we started recording, and now it's what we want to talk about
Yeah,
with you
yeah. Let's
guys.
take a second to dive into the arguably the biggest release of the week.
Yes.
Is Fantastic Four finally back after how many years of being? When did Secret Wars end?
Let's say 2014, 2015.
So like at least 4 years.
Yeah.
And Fantastic Four is finally back. It's Dan Slott who had the longest run ever of Spider-Man. That's not true, but he did have a long Spider-Man run, and now
Like
he's on
10 years, right?
Yeah, he's on Fantastic Four with Sarah Pichelli on art, who she's amazing. She is the co-creator of Miles Morales. Is that correct?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and which with a few guest artists as well for smaller backups. But yeah, they've been off the board for a while. Before we dive into kind of the bigger abstract stuff, what did you think of the issue?
I thought it was. There are parts that I liked and parts I didn't. With Marvel 2-in-1, they kind of covered the entire the whole premise of that story is
Yeah.
in about like 5 sentences, which is like basically Ben lied to Johnny and was like, we are gonna Reed gave us this little device that would let us traverse the multiverse. Johnny thought they were gonna be looking for Reed and Sue, and Ben thought they were dead, so he was like, let's just do this to have some fun, like why not? And then Johnny figured it out, and it was like that.
Yeah.
That's super shitty that you did that. So it's kind of a bummer they covered that so quick. It's actually a really good comic that I
Yeah.
recommend. But Johnny kind of acts like a baby a little bit. But I like the flashback to like a Fantastic Four story that you forgot, like this thing where he's
Yeah.
singing and
I like the emphasis of the family aspect of it because that's where the Fantastic Four really matter. And a scene that actually got me kind of emotional is when Thing is asking Johnny to be his best man, and Johnny is rightfully like, no. Reed Richards is your best friend. Like, why are you giving up on this? Like, that's your best friend. Like, that's who should be the Ben Grimm's best man. And it's like, he's right. It should be
is.
Reed Richards, and it's just a cool and the little running gag is the way I will describe it of Johnny being a good singer. That whole bit, it's like I'm excited for this group of people to get back together, and I'm excited to see the adventures they go on. Like this got me interested in seeing where they go from here because I liked the little lost adventure. I liked Ben with his girlfriend. I liked all that stuff. I liked Johnny hanging out with Wyatt, which it felt.
I know what
it
you're
felt
talking
like
about.
the issue goes out of its way to like establish both of them as straight, but it definitely feels like
there's something there. If they gave a
something-
smooch to each other, I'd be like, oh,
yeah,
cool.
that's fine. Yeah,
Hey, two pretty people kissing. That's what we read
no.
comics.
Exactly, that's what it's all for. So,
I did actually want to say, I wanted to bring up the song. Do you know Donkashane? The song that
Yeah,
he was
yeah, yeah.
singing? If you guys don't know, since this is a Patreon thing, it doesn't, we can play like just a small snippet of this song
Yeah.
really quick because I have it actually downloaded. Let me play it really quick. I really like this song. It was in a Wolfenstein.
and that is Johnny Storm singing.
That
there,
is, yeah.
surprisingly. No, it's a fun little. I love those little lost stories. Like, hey, this is one you didn't know about. You know what I mean?
And it was like someone like the kids stole the gun and everything, and
Yeah.
for the Fantastic Four, what a handy gun! They're like, don't
Yeah.
worry, nothing's lethal in here. I'm like, if you launched that in,
Yeah.
in your apartment, you would have burned it
spells
down.
out the words Fantastic Four. It's not even just a giant four. It spells out the words Fantastic
It's like
Four.
deploying a flammable emergency slide
Yeah.
inside of your apartment that comes out of a gun. It's definitely dangerous. You shouldn't have it inside. But then he had the rock, right? Like that was the thing that he had. That
Which
could,
feels like it's going to pay off. But I just like all the little touches of the world. It makes me excited for these characters again. Now, there's been rumors about why the 2 backup stories are cool. By the way, too, I'm excited for more Doctor Doom because he's one of my favorite villains. And then the cute little Scotty Young 1-page bit.
could you tell us who that is? Because I don't know. who that
I don't
is,
even
yeah.
remember his name. It's the Impossible Man or something like
Mr.
that.
Impossible?
Anyway,
The little green guy.
the little green guy, Mr. Impossible Man. No, he's Mr. Impossible. Oh, and Stan Lee. That's Stan Lee.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, he's basically Mr. Mxyzptlk for the Fantastic Four. In
So-
fact, there was a joke in one of the comics that it's literally the same character. He just presents himself differently in different universes.
That's cool.
Yeah, and he does the same bit. He kind of functions. It's like he's not evil, but he is a pain in the ass
Yeah.
and that kind of a thing. So that's fun. The rumor has been that they've been off the board because Marvel's been pissy that Fox wouldn't let them use Fantastic Four characters in their movies, and so they stopped publishing the comic. To
lot
kind
of pouting.
And I mean, if you think about it, that's also when Inhumans were kind of taking things from the X-Men, which didn't really pan out for anybody. And now all of a sudden, weirdly, it's like the X-Men are getting back and the Fantastic Four is back, and it's like, what is that
The
about?
death of the Inhuman series.
Yeah.
They're like, we're getting back to basics here.
Yeah. So I guess a question I had for you, how much should, we've seen like the Guardians of the Galaxy lineup immediately change to the lineup of the movie. The second the movie came out, a lot of times you'll see costumes revert to the versions from the movies. How much do you think what goes on in the movies, which are, I don't even think arguably more popular and more what's the word I'm looking for? They generate more money than the comics do. How much should that influence what we get in comics?
Should
it should or should not or whatever?
I mean, it's a good idea. It's like you could look at the Justice League right now. It's definitely based off of the animated series because that's one that people love, that normal people would be like, oh, I remember all them together. I'd read another story. It's not going to be what you think.
Yeah,
it's not the same writers.
Not the same.
But if they're all hanging out together, you might pick up a couple issues. So I get it, and I understand, and that's okay. I think a lot of people get. I saw like a weird thread on Reddit about people getting upset. It's like, no, go back to like the basics. It's like, guys, I gotta be honest with you, the movies make way more money than you could possibly even fathom. So we should probably bank on the thing that people like. It doesn't mean you should compromise characters that you enjoy or like totally retcon things that have already happened, but like I think there is merit in banking in something that works and then marrying that with the things that fans already loved and made that popular, because I think you can have both.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think I'll always side on the go where the stories are. Like if something's working from one of the series, feel free to use it. But also, I remember when Dark Knight was in theaters, that was when Grant Morrison was doing his run on Batman, and it had nothing to do with what was happening in the movie. It was literally tonally the exact opposite of what was going on in the movies. Like the movies were trying to be way more grounded, and Grant Morrison was not.
Nope.
And reading that run got me back into comics. That's actually the Dark Knight, and then reading Grant Morrison's run on Batman R.I.P., and then Brian Azzarello and Lee Bermejo's Joker one shot graphic novel got me back in the comics. But interestingly, the Joker in that, even though they were working on it well before the movie, shares some physical resemblances to the Dark Knight's Joker. So that's kind of like a little bit of what you're talking about there. I think as far as don't table a comic series just because you don't have the rights to the characters in the movie. Like don't throw the Fantastic Four in a garbage bin because you're throwing a fit. You know what I mean? I
mean, maybe it worked. Like, I don't know. Like, it's like it's hard to tell. Like they didn't shelve everybody. They shelved weird like half, which is weird. They're like the ones that everyone recognizes immediately. Like actually that's not true. They kept actually the two more popular
ones. Yeah. Like the ones growing up, the ones I cared about most were the Thing and Human Torch. You know what I mean?
And Thing was in they put him in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Which is actually really smart.
Yeah, because he was like he always wanted to go to space. That's what happened to him. And but his run with them lasted as long as Iron Man's did, which was like 6 issues, and then they were done with it, which was a bummer because it was a cool idea. But he got to team up with Venom when they were up there, Agent Venom and Groot, and it was really fun. And also Kitty Pryde when she was up there too. That was a really cool run for the Guardians. And Johnny Storm was part of the Uncanny Avengers, which was written by, I'm blanking on the team.
That was after Rick Remender. He joined the team after Rick Remender's run with that team.
I'm blanking because Zub took over for a second, and then they did the big the surrender event that lasted for our entire lives, and then it finally stopped. But the people who were before that, they did some really cool stuff with Johnny Storm, and it was good. So they didn't shelve him completely, and also they were still being acknowledged of something happened to them, and we don't know what it is. I don't know. I get it. I can understand from a business standpoint if you're doing shitty things like that. I think it is dumb. I agree with you. Why would you just?
Also, something that kind of bothers me is when it feels obvious that this is definitely a testing ground for stuff that we want to use later in the movies. Yeah. Immediately after Avengers, and there was the tease of Thanos, they did a big event including Thanos where he had henchmen, and it definitely felt like, oh yeah, you're just kind of you're market testing stuff for the movies, and it's these should be their own stories, but it is tough. There's
a lot of people really like Infinity though.
There are it's Jonathan Hickman, and I think Jim Chung did art on it, so it's it's a really talented team of people. But you want stuff you want to do it not just, this is crazy because it's a business. You're going to make money, and not every arc is going to be the arc. I don't know how many people wrote Batman. Well, no, yeah, it was Grant Morrison, and then there's a lull. where they were still publishing Batman, but it wasn't like reinventing the wheel. And then you had Scott Snyder, and now you have Tom King. But not every run's going to be that. Some of it's going to be kind of filler for a minute because these characters are continuously being published for eternity,
It's
long after we're
insane
dead.
that there's still like runs that get like really popular because you feel like how it's crazy that people still like that we even keep reading them. And eventually,
Yeah.
at some point, we might just be like, nah, I can't. Like budget wise, I can't do that.
Yeah, you
anymore.
have to take a break. I mean, there's a reason not the Bat books typically are some of DC's best books, and I just don't. I'm Batmaned out, man. Like it's not that they're not good. It's just I don't have the room in my budget for every Bat book that's coming out. I
That's
just
okay.
don't. You know.
Yeah.
So on that front, would you recommend Fantastic Four #1?
I would because I think they're great characters and they've been around for a long time and there's cool. If you guys like stories where it deals with family and it's a dysfunctional family, but it is still a family that loves each other and each person has their own flair and importance to one another and to the reader. Check it out. Like, why not? And also, it's a new writer, a new creative team. It's bound to be something that you haven't seen before. Also, maybe just check out. You've read Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four, right? You read at least.
I read.
Part
It
of
was a very long run. I started picking up when it was FF, and that's when Spider-Man joined the team.
I read that one too.
Yeah, and Doctor Doom was a part of the team for a minute, which is so cool. Doctor Doom's such a cool villain.
He had like a Flowers for Algernon story too. Like he was getting dumb.
They love it.
It's an easy one. It's great. That's how you like make the bad guy sometimes the good guy. Like because you make him dumb.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I don't know if that's progressive.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit at this point? Like no, it's a good book to read if you want to like get into it and you can see where that ended and then you could pick up this. Like also if you always ask for like launching pads for getting the new series, check this out. And with like the Fox merger, if you're like, what could they do with those characters being gone and like or not being in the universe? There
you go.
There's probably a pitch for it in this series, so watch how it unfolds. Dan Slott did a lot of cool stuff with Spider-Man. Like some people are mad about certain things, but he also has a lot of memorable moments. Spider-Man was still a very popular comic when it's Spider-Man, but also he was doing an okay job, right? So I think it's worth checking out.
Yeah, so definitely check it out and let us know in the comments, or you can hit us up on the Discord if you're part of patreon.com/onlystupidanswers.
There's a Let's Talk Comics channel there where you can actually talk about Marvel, DC, Indie.
Let us know your reviews for the comics. Let us know what comics you think we should be picking up. Speaking of the chat here, people watching with us live.
We saw Danny Boy. He wrote that his friend picked up Giant Days, and they thought he digs it. Says it's pretty funny. Now I'm gonna read it this weekend. Thank you. Also, he said he loved Jupiter Jet, and he stole it from his daughters. Nice. Also, Danny had a birthday.
Happy birthday, Danny!
Happy birthday. Also, Maggie. I know. Here's a fun thing.
Yes.
Maggie in the Discord during our live show yesterday said she was gonna swing by House of Secrets today and pick up Giant Days.
Do it.
Good.
Do it. House
choices.
of Secrets are good people over there.
They're gonna treat you well.
Yeah. So
you're gonna have a good time. I think we actually did we did do a poll list on yesterday's live stream. Make sure you check that out when this goes up soon, and you can know what we're gonna be talking about next week. But like DJ said, talk about it in the Discord and on our Twitters at DJ Talks Trash.
At Sam Basher.
There you go. And onlystupidanswers.com for everything else you guys know that. Check out patreon.com/hard to say goodbye because we have our Game of Thrones show on there. Please support it because
we want to do it.
We want to do it. We do have to hit a thing, and if we don't hit the thing, we can't do it.
We just literally can't afford to do it.
Like we got to make it work and keep the lights on. You guys know how it goes. Also, if you're part of the OSA Patreon and you're listening to this, if you bump up to 50, you'll just get all that content right here.
Boom.
On this Patreon, so you don't even need to keep track of two different ones.
Yep.
Let's make your lives a little bit easier.
Why
and then
not?
let's all watch Game of Thrones together.
Please. Well, I mean, it's getting near the end. We got to recap.
Yes, we did our first watch through with people, and that was a blast.
It was a lot of fun.